I'd like to refer to several excerpts from your book. Ask you to read a sentence or two and then talk to me about it.
It is the experience that matters, not the secondary interpretations we concoct. By assimilating what we experience to preconceived, generalized stories, we run the risk of losing the very aspects that made the experience enchanting. Well, what I mean by that is that you have to start by asking yourself, what is experience? Experience is a kind of rush in the sensorium and in sensory data that are coming by and large. They're not as such experience. They become experience when your attention focuses on them. See, when you're sitting in a chair, as I do now, you're normally not aware of the pressure of the chair against your bottom or your bottom against the chair. Totally unaware. But when you put attention, when you focus attention on it, you become aware of it. And the moment you focus attention on it, you're inclined to formulate what it is in terms of concepts. They may not necessarily be words yet, but they are concepts, and concepts are like pictures. And what I mean there is that if you have some very pleasant experience, like, I don't know, if a love experience, that is what it is before you have conceptualized it. When you conceptualize it, that is when your attention begins to run over them, you're inclined to formulating in terms that are standardized, that are the ordinary things. And in doing that, you very often lose the particular quality that was the most likable, the most enchanting one in the actual experience. Now this is very subtle, because in order to really understand it, you'd need a full theory of attention, and we can't do that here now. Well, because it's your attentional focus that makes it possible to categorize and conceptualize what is going on in the sensorium and in your mind in general. I have occasionally mentioned it in papers. I've never written a paper about it, no. The focus on attention comes from my 20 years with Silvio Ceccato, who had a whole theory of attention, which is very interesting and I think very useful, because attention normally is seen as something like a spotlight that sort of lights up things that are in some kind of landscape. Well, Ceccato said that this is nonsense. Attention is nothing of the sort. Attention is a pulse that throws light on some sensory datum and picks it out, and then when it goes to the next one, and in doing that it composes complexes out of sensory data, and that is, it is part of perception, if you will, that conceptualizes something that consists of individual points. Perception is not seeing something that is there, but it is constructing something out of individual points that are available. And that's a notion of attention that is very different from the ordinary. But I think it's a very useful notion. It gets you much closer to a model of how we perceive than anything else.
You talk quite a bit about Silvio Ceccato and your work with him for 20 years in your book.
Well, it's all in there, how I worked with him.
That's all I wanted to say.
For about 20 years, you see, off and on.